back. How you doing, people? A2TP podcast, episode 92. We are back in the building. It's your boy, International Walk.
And it's your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest. I forgot my name.
Co-hostess with the mostest. She got a splinter in her throat. I don't know how that happened. We was eating some rice and shit, and all of a sudden, a piece of wood got in her throat.
It may not be a piece of wood, but there is something currently lodged in my throat that feels like a thorn. And he's being facetious about it.
I helped you, so don't try to act like
serious.
I'm playing it off. I'm trying to make sure you're okay, but when you start panicking, talking about, I got a splinter in my throat.
That's what it feels like, and I can't dislodge it.
That's just not the truth, though.
What's not the truth?
You have a splinter in your throat.
It feels like a splinter in my throat.
But
I know
that's
it's
not what you said downstairs.
Actually a wooden splinter, but it feels like there's a thorn.
I'm sure it'll come out once your throat relaxes and you'll probably fall asleep. Drink some more water.
I might choke.
You're not going to choke. Calmate, por favor. We are back with another episode of A2TP podcast. This is episode 92.
How you say 92?
Lord Jesus Christ. There's something always wrong with my baby. She gets lost by herself. She don't eat when she's by herself. She'll choke on food if she's not with somebody.
I get lost by myself?
You
get lost with
she
GPS.
Goes out, okay, whatever. So what? We talking about you right now. She went outside the other day for nothing.
I thought
she went to go get some hygiene stuff and had hygiene stuff in the house.
I forgot where I stored them. And
right next to the toilet where they always are.
I forgot.
It's not like they was in the back room or in the on my nightstand somewhere they ain't supposed to be. Right next to the toilet where they always are.
I forgot they were there.
In your bathroom.
I forgot that they were there. And just then the post office was closed. I just had a whole wasteful day of using gas.
Yep. Whole bunch of missed time. And she gets like that when she's alone. You know, she need the kid around. And the kid can't be around. He got to go out and make bacon. Y'all can catch us on A2TPodcast.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Spotify, and Tickety Talk.
Did y'all catch our TikToks? I hope y'all like them. We'll be doing more.
She hype over TikTok. I support her though. She hype over TikTok stuff.
It made me feel a little old. Like I can imagine like when older people get a cell phone for the first time and they trying to figure out how to use it. Trying to figure out how to use those TikTok effects, I think is what they're called. And then you don't want the voice or you do want the voice. Oh
Imagine you put the filter on where it turns outside sky to space and you give it to an old person. They'll freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
They'll freak the fuck
I don't know
out.
how people have
or the spider crawling on your face.
Yeah.
Or the man coming from behind your back.
I don't know how people have the mental.
The fuck?
This thing is moving in my throat. I don't know how people have the mental band. That was a big pause.
I'm just saying.
I don't know how people have the mental bandwidth to like be active on like multiple. Well, I won't say multiple, but like because I'm active on Instagram and Facebook to an extent.
How you do that? You go on there and connect the apps.
But everybody doesn't do that. Some people want to write like long messages and stuff like that on Facebook, and then some people post pictures on Instagram and you connect those. But then some people do TikTok, and then some people do Twitter too.
I'm sure it's a way to connect them all, though. Maybe we don't know, but I'm sure it's a way to connect them.
But not
even if you want to post different stuff. I'm saying
not even just in you posting, being active, meaning you're commenting on other people's stuff, like that kind of thing. So yeah, you post and you can just, make it a one-stop shop thing in a lot of platforms, I think. But if you're actively like looking at other people's postings, commenting, engaging, that's a lot of engagement like going on.
Mm-hmm. But you got to be into it.
Yeah, see,
hopefully for a reason, not just
I was
like
gonna say hopefully making money off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, to each his own. It's it's a time waster, but it can be entertaining in some aspects and educational in some aspects, and
troublesome in some aspects.
Definitely,
let's put it all on the table.
Yeah, definitely.
Social media is a great money streaming platforms. It opens up avenues for revenue. it connects people, but it also damages the shit out of people.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
put it all on the table. How are you?
Other than right now being choked by something that I can't find.
Jesus Christ, serenity now!
Oh my God. I don't even
always wrong with my baby.
I'm a 7. I'm
a 7 mentally?
Yeah.
Really? Because you got a thorn in your throat?
No, I'm just, I'm a 7. I guess the mental is impacted by other areas. I know
if I gave you a 7+, would you be mad?
No, I'm good with a 7+.
All right, I want you to be better, so I'm going to give you a 7+.
I'm good with a 7+.
What's your finances like?
You just cut me off.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
No, what's your mental?
That's fine. I don't want to have to dwell on it. So just
okay.
a 7+. My finances are a 10. Thank God, grateful. My husband said that I can resign today from my job. I told him I'm going to apply for a job at Wawa, and he was okay with that. So, yeah, y'all catch me, making y'all shorties and stuff at a Wawa near you.
I'm coming in and get a soup.
I'll give you a
get that corn chowder.
What they used to call it at McDonald's when you upsize.
Yeah, they don't do that no more.
Yeah, if you order a medium, I give you a large.
They gonna fire your ass for that shit.
Work.
Just come on, quick.
Work is. I'll say it's a 7 as well.
7. You're gonna get a 7 for that and get no plus.
Physically. With this thorn in my throat right now, it hurts to even laugh.
Oh
I'm gonna say I'm an 8 though. I probably would be a 9 other than
fucking thorn in the
being
throat.
choked by something invisible right now.
Wow.
How are you?
I'm sufficient.
Oh, you are sufficient.
Yes.
You are sufficient for me.
I'm sufficient. So mentally, I am at 8. Sufficient. I'm looking forward to therapy next week. But
You got some things to get off your chest?
No, just
healing.
Yeah,
it feels good.
Every 2 weeks or so, you be looking in the second week. You're like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
Not that anything is troubling me, because it's not. But just want to stay on the path, stay on the journey. Finances, I would say, is a 9. Work, I would say, is a 9. This is easy for me. Physicality, I feel like an 8. Nothing hurts, feel good, body feel good. I was thinking about going to the doctors. I'm thinking about it, but I am going to go to the doctors. But I just had the thought, but I am going to go because I got insurance now. So.
He had insurance for the last 2 years. He went to the doctor once.
Why you got to tell the people my business?
I mean,
I had insurance for the last 2 years, so I went to the doctor once, and I was healthy. But I'm going to go back. You need to go to the doctor with a thorn in your throat.
Why you ain't go to the doctor last year? You want to tell him?
What you mean last year? The year not over. It's 2022. I went in 2021.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
20. Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did.
See,
okay.
don't tell. I ain't gonna tell me when I went to the doctor.
You late for your
you
2022 appointment,
but it's still
because you felt like you
2022.
wanted to make some improvements so you can show off for the doctor.
Yeah, and I slimmed down like 10 pounds.
Okay, I said improvements. I wasn't gonna put your business out there like that.
I slimmed down like 10 pounds.
But babe, I want you to know.
I gotta get off the candy. I went back on the candy, but I'm getting off that too.
I know, but I want you to know I love you regardless, and I need you to be healthy. So even if you're not in your best physical state, I need you to get checked, because I need to know that I'm going to have you forever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
that's enough.
I need you to get
enough.
checked.
I'm not going to do that all fucking. That sounds weird on the microphone. Come on now. Wows and woes.
Well, my woe right now is this.
Jesus Christ. With the fucking thorn. Oh my God.
My wildest week has just been. We got some sunshine. I will say.
Been beautiful days.
Oh yes. Today I actually, even though I stood in the yard to take a meeting call, like for work, just to get some sunshine and some air. Now it backfired on me because the mosquitoes ate my legs up, but it felt good to I was just downstairs, like, let me just step outside, and it felt good. I'm gonna try to do that more often if I don't need to be directly in front of my computer for a call. So the sunshine this week, I know there are people that really suffer from seasonal affective disorder, and this is the top of the season, so I hope people weren't doing bad already, because you got, quite a few months to go, but
that happens when the season changes and you have the dark days.
yeah.
So
but I'm saying it's just the beginning,
right?
So
and we had 5 because of the hurricane, but it ain't been like that part of the season where it's fall rainy weather. The
and
leaves
it's dark
haven't even
at 4
changed
o'clock.
yet.
Yeah. But yeah, that I was just, that was my wow, just God giving us some sunshine. My woe, just seems like this is a time of turmoil for just a lot of people in the world, families, marriages, friendships, relationships, and that can kind of be a downer a little bit. So just staying positive and staying prayed up. So that that was just a little damper on my week, but other than that, I'm good.
My wow is to piggyback on what you on. I was happy to have some sunshine at work. Sitting on the back of my car, just eating lunch. It feels good to get some air, breathe some sunshine, get some vitamin D. So that's my wow. I've been able to do that this week when last week we were shut in. Like shut in tight.
Cold too.
Yeah, cold rain. Woes, I have no woes. God has given me another week. And I'm happy, I'm present, and determined about that. So thank you, God. And that's it for woes. Cash, no cash bail. We had a chat about this last week. We're talking about it now. No cash bail states are Kentucky, New Mexico, New Jersey, California, Illinois, Nebraska, Indiana, and now New York are all having no cash bails. So there's going of the day that you put up your house and stuff for bail if a loved one gets put in prison. And this is at the federal level. The states are doing this, but at the federal level, there's no cash bail now.
I'm sorry. So I'm sorry.
At the federal level, there's no cash bail, and at states are doing it now. Which
so at the federal level, it's always been no cash bail.
Well, not as of recent, but it's been that way for a few years. I would say probably for the past 10, 15 years.
Okay, so now these are just individual states that are implementing.
Yes.
Okay. What about and sorry, this is a dumb question, but I just have never been in a legal system to that effect. That includes counties and stuff like that. That's part of the state.
Yeah. If you're in the state of Pennsylvania, that includes Bucks County and Montgomery County. And
okay, so okay.
But those states have no cash bail, and it's in an effort to deter overcrowding of prisons, having people in prison for misdemeanor crimes, minor offenses, and having high bail set on them, and having them to sit in there. And in these states like Nebraska, Illinois, and Kentucky, these states have had no cash bail for a few years, and it has not created any safety issues on the street as far as pedestrians and civilians on the street. It has not created any extra crime. So having a no cash bail system where misdemeanors up to attempted murder, some counts, circumstantial, are no cash bail. What's your thoughts on that?
So when you were just saying that about Kentucky and the other states, I thought to myself, that's not surprising to me. I don't think that the implementation of, or I guess, the removal of the implementation of a no cash bail system, I don't foresee that increasing any crime or violence, and I also don't see it decreasing. I think you'll probably. It'll probably be status quo, unfortunately.
Do you see the point where some people might think, okay, if you're locking up people and letting them right out with no cash, you're putting so-called criminals back on the street, so you see where they would think there would be more crime?
I do. I can see why people would think that, but let's think about this. One of the things that I didn't know we were going to talk about this today, but I did read about this, is that one of the things that people kind of overlook is that having a cash bail system is sort of like a criminal wealth benefit. So let's say if you're a criminal, let's say you in the streets, you hustling, you got money, or your homies got money, and you shoot somebody, well, you can get out anyway because you got the money to do so, where somebody else who may have committed a much less harmful or a much less violent crime but has a bail, they can't get out because of their financial situation. So I don't think bail deters crime necessarily, or having bail having bail be required. I don't think it deters crime. Now, I will say, let's just say any laws that are implemented, it's never going to be all the way good. There's always going to be some good and some bad. You know what I mean? So the fact that,
in the beginning, but you're supposed to work that out.
Exactly. Is there a chance that, there may be some people that are let out that probably should be, but that happens today anyway? How many times do we hear stories about, somebody who shot somebody and it's like, oh, well, they were out on bail and they already had like however many charges pending or trial pending, but because they had the money from whatever lifestyle they live or their family's lifestyle or whatever, however they got the money, they had the money to get out anyway.
But as of late, that has as of the past few years, that's not been the case, because a lot of judges have been putting high bells on people. And it's funny that you look at it in the sense of it's a wealth thing, because I look at it, I understand your point, but I look at it like it's a racket. Like for instance, I was locked up with a guy, when I got locked up twice in my life, right? So I got a bail for $75,000 and a bail for $100,000. And you could pay 10% and get out. So $7,500 I would have been out, and $10,000 I would have been out. And back in the 90s, you could put your house up, or your mom could put her house up, or even in some cases you could pay for your bail with the money you had in your pocket if you didn't get arrested for a drug crime.
Okay.
So you could, if you had, $10,000 or $9,000 in your pocket, you could pay your $7,000 and get out on your own. But I was locked up with a guy who his name was William Hodge, and I can't remember what he did, but his bail was $1,600. And I'm talking about, this is 96. His bail was $1,600 and they called him $160. Mm-hmm. He spent 90 days in jail and his bail was $160.
But you make my point when I say that it's a wealth system, because of the fact that he or his family members unfortunately weren't wealthy enough to be able to afford $160.
It's not about wealth at that point where the state is holding an inmate, housing him and feeding him, and costing them thousands of dollars a day for his safety, his food, his housing, where his bail is $160. He spent 90 days in jail to get his bail reduced to $800, half the $1,600, and he paid $80 to get out.
So when I say wealth system, I don't mean for the state. I mean, it benefits people who are wealthy. Now, don't get me wrong. You don't have to be considered wealthy to have $160, but you obviously are far from wealthy if you don't have $160.
Right, but my point is, in the last couple of years, that has stopped because there's been a thing called the No Bail Act. The No Bail Act came in 2021, where you had to have a bail package now. So you can't just go to the mattress and get $35,000 and bail yourself out. You have to have a hearing, get bail, have a package to show where you got the money from, where it came from, the account it came from, if it's a house, what house you're putting up, do you own it, and then present that to the judge.
Right.
And if everything is in line, then you get bail. So with that in place, it stopped a lot of people from doing what you said, just getting out because they got the wealth. So because you can't just say, "Ma, go get the $50,000 and bail me out," because that you can't come down here with that much cash no more.
Okay, but that's just in Pennsylvania.
No, that was across the board. That's and a lot of people were staying locked up, locked up in jail with these high bails, $500,000 bails and $1 million bails, and they couldn't get out. But along with that, the little people got lost too, which is why they getting rid of the bail system itself. But the little people got lost, like William Hodge, who bail was $1,600. That's insane to be in jail for a bail for $1,600 and you need $160 to get out, to the point where people are calling you that. And you got to sit there 90 days. So imagine what the state has to pay for him for 90 days, where he could have got killed. He could have got beat up and put in the hospital. Anything could have happened to him, and they're paying for that for 90 days, where they could have just let him out, on his own recognizance. And then,
and you let him out for $80, but you wouldn't let him out
on ROR just on his own. And he had a minor offense. He wasn't a danger to society. He didn't have a gun crime or no shit like that. Obviously, his bail was $1,600. He might have stole something. Right. But that's ridiculous to have to sit in jail for 90 days to get a bail for under $100 and have to come up with that.
Yeah, I mean,
even $1.60, we thought like. Even back then, we thought, what the fuck did you do that nobody won't come get you for $160?
But again, maybe his circle, his family, his circumstance that he came from, maybe no. I mean, if we think about it, outside of our siblings, and not all of them, but you know, some of our siblings. Of course, I have, you know, Toya. I know, you know, she would show up. You know, I have some friends who may show up with $160, but it ain't a long list of people you could call and ask for $160 if you didn't have it.
No.
Like, and I didn't even talk about jail.
I don't have nobody I could call and ask for $160 if I didn't have it.
Rasheen would give you $160.
I wouldn't know. No.
I'm not saying you would call and ask, but I'm just saying the list of people that you could. And some people don't have that one or two people.
I know, but you would think when it's like dire circumstances, like being in jail.
And wait, and let me say this. And it's not necessarily because those people wouldn't, they just may not have it. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you don't got nobody who would do it for you. Like, some people just may not have a circle of people that would have it to give. Like, it might take food out of their kids' mouths if they gave you $160. They might be like, I need gas in my car to get to work. I don't have $160 to spare. So, I mean, that's another side of that to look at. Is like, damn, like.
So, do you think that people up for those crimes from a petty misdemeanor up to attempted murder, do you have any issue with that being the range of charges?
Yes, I do think that there needs to be some parameters put in place because, okay, what if it's I'm just going to say like domestic violence, and a first offense or 10th offense, it should, like, you shouldn't be able to just be out. Because then what could happen, what we hear about in different stories is, okay, this man beat up his... But don't
they put a protection order? And that's supposed to be what the protocol is?
Yeah, but, okay, this man beat up his wife. She put a protection order. It was just a man recently, a video a woman had put up of her husband beating her up. She went to she got a protection order. Then she was staying with her mother. The morning that she was, like, going to court about the case, he killed her. So, I mean, for somebody who has intent to harm you, that ain't going to stop anything. So I'm just saying, I do have a problem with...
Isn't that the extreme, though? Because you can say that about every case. If somebody really has the intent on hurting the other person, it ain't jack shit nobody can do.
That's why I do have a problem with I don't think it should just be blanketed. If you stole some M&Ms from ShopRite, yeah, like, you need to, like, be made to do community service or something because in that case, you ain't even hungry, you just a thief. Now,
okay, I agree with that. But again, we talked about the dad who comes home, realizes somebody touched his daughter, goes and kills him, gets locked up for it. I mean, goes and tries to kill him, doesn't, just beats him real bad, gets locked up for attempted murder. Should he get bail?
Okay, so now you have to look at this not from a moral or ethics standpoint.
Hold on, I mean, that's way different than a gangster that's trying to kill his rival drug, you know.
Right. No, I get it. So now we have to look at it. If you're approaching it from a moral or ethical standpoint, yeah, he should get bail. He should be home with his family. But if we're looking at it from a legal standpoint, you got to think, should he really? Because we already know there was an attempted murder. So what happens when this person is out on bail and now it's a murder?
I think it's one of them situations where it's like, you got to look at the circumstances. Every one of them domestic and emotional crime that has a human element to it. So I think it's like, okay, this is why he didn't come home from work and just want to kill somebody. This is the reason that triggered him. And most men, this would be the same scenario.
No, and I agree. So I'm not saying that he was wrong.
So all I'm saying is,
but from a legal aspect, you got to think, if we let this man out and he wasn't successful in his murder attempt the first time, now we let him out, the court is going to have hell on their hands if now it is a murder.
But you just said letting people out in the beginning doesn't affect people's safety. It doesn't raise crime. But now it's like, okay, he should be in jail. Like what exactly are you saying? Like who? So attempted
No,
murder.
you said that it doesn't, and I said I'm not surprised because I think it'll kind of balance itself out. So in that situation,
well, you agreed. I'm not saying you said it, but you agreed.
yeah, no, I don't think. No, don't get me wrong. It doesn't
But
mean
why
that.
do you think he would come out and kill him? So you're saying he would come out and commit more crime when you didn't think that initially. So that's what I'm saying.
Overall, I don't think there will be any huge increase in violence in the statistics. Does it mean that there are some people who would commit more crimes? Yeah, but I don't think there's going to be any huge increase in this in violent statistics. Like, people who were shooting people up, whether they're in jail and they beat the case and they come home, they might still be shooting people up. Or if they are released, they may not shoot people up. So I don't think it's something that automatically is indicative that because you do this is going to happen. Now, is there a chance that there will be some outliers? Like, damn, this man killed this man, but we knew he was trying to kill him initially, and we let him out and let him finish the job.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just saying, I don't think overall there will be any huge spike in crime.
So is attempted murder too much of a charge to be?
I think it's
have no bail. Or do you think like anything to do with murder, you should have a bail until it's sorted out? Because in this sense, with the new law, you gotta have a decision within 48 hours whether the person should.
Yeah, I think anything.
Which to me makes the DA have to do their job.
Yeah, I think
it's not like you can't sit around for 9, 10, 12 days.
You can't take the chance because again, now you I just look at it like this. Let's look at it from the victim side. Even though, let's not even say the scenario where it's somebody who hurt a child. But let's say, whatever happened and it was a fight and it escalated and now this man tried to kill my brother. Okay? And he wasn't successful and he went to jail. And y'all let him out on bail. And now he finds my brother and he kills him this time. I am going to sue the socks off of everybody that was responsible for that decision. Why would y'all think it was a good idea to let him out after he already tried to commit this crime? Like, he went back to finish the job.
Maybe the crime he committed, according to the law, maybe it was his first offense. Maybe there's so many variables around it that he doesn't fit the criteria for having to be in jail with a bail.
For attempted murder, I just think you need a bail.
So that's your decision. You think that's too much of a charge?
Yeah, I think it should stop before attempted murder.
What about aggravated assault?
That's circumstantial, because just because you beat somebody up doesn't mean you're gonna go back and beat it. It might be over. Right. So again, that's circumstantial. Now, but
anything domestic, you think, okay, he beat her up. That's just the end of it.
Or she beat him up.
And that's the end of it. Like, why would you think it would go any further?
Nah, because most times in domestic violence situations, it does go further. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say there aren't any domestic violence situations where it was a one-time thing. That's very feasible that it could have been.
What about battery?
Battery, aggravated assault, those sort of physical crimes, I think they're circumstantial.
Strong arm robbery. Walked up to the bus stop, punched somebody in the face, and took their.
I think if you hurt another person,
you need bail.
It is circumstantial because now.
So what if you hurt another person in a fight? A high school fight. You beat the shit out of a kid who was fucking with you, and you just beat him up. Like, he didn't know you could fight that good.
It's circumstantial. How do you know automatically that it was because somebody was messing with you? How are you going to let the person?
I'm saying that's the scenario. Some kid beat some kid up in high school because he was fucking with him. He got tired of him and beat him up. He got to be in jail on bail because he got an aggravated assault charge?
I said it's circumstantial. So under those circumstances, okay, I can foresee him being allowed out without having a bail. It's circumstantial. It depends on what the situation is.
So the guy walks up on a corner and punches the dude in the face and says, "Get the fuck off my corner," and beats him up. That's like a fight. It's just, but the scenario is
but different. You're violent for no reason. You're violent for no. That's the thing. We need these people out here who are just causing chaos, causing a ruckus for no reason, just for the sake of being a criminal. That they get them off the streets.
Armed robbery.
I mean,
if you have a gun and you
there should
take
be a
something
high
from
bail.
an establishment or a person,
there should be a high bail, because guess what? If you let them out, they're probably going to keep robbing. So
drug dealing,
dealing weed,
crack dealing. You're selling cracks.
I mean, the thing, if the goal is to stop the crime, then they should be in jail, because if you let them out, they're just going to continue to do it.
But isn't
probably.
that the problem? There's so many people locked up in jail.
But there are some people that need to be in jail.
But there's some people who don't.
Well, that's why I'm saying some things are circumstantial. If you stole M&Ms from the market, then no.
Yeah, but you're going with the pettiest shit. I'm trying to get into the thick of it, like these charges that we're talking about. Now, I agree with you that if you steal M&Ms, you should
if you
be in
selling
jail.
weed, no, you don't. You shouldn't need a bail, because technically it shouldn't be a crime. If
But
you
if
out
you're
here
selling
selling
cracks?
fentanyl, then you
If
should
you're
be.
selling cracks,
Yes, it's killing people.
fentanyl, I agree with you. Heroin, I probably would agree with you. But if you're selling cracks, powder, weed, pills,
I mean, it depends on who you selling it to.
you're selling your Xanny script that you get a month, you should be locked up.
You're destroying lives. Well, people are destroying their own lives, but you're contributing to it.
So
there are
with
some
you. I'm
crimes.
just trying to get what your thought process
Yeah, there are
is.
some crimes that you should be in jail for. Are the jails overcrowded? Yes. First, let's start with releasing all the people that are locked up for marijuana.
That's what Joe Biden just said the other day. At the federal level, he's pardoning everybody who's locked up for a minor marijuana offense. I couldn't believe it.
I don't even think of it. I don't
That's
care
like
if it was,
millions of people across the country.
I don't care if it's minor or if you had 70,000 kilos. Like, it's weed and it's legal now, and you shouldn't be in jail for it.
Yeah, when you're talking about 70,000 kilos, you're talking about murders and shit happen over that type of weight.
If that ain't your charge, that ain't your charge. If your charge is just for having the marijuana, you need to be out of jail. Let's see how much room.
70,000 kilos is a lot.
Let's see how much room that allows when you release all of the people that have marijuana only charges.
Yes.
Distribution, use, possession, anything related to marijuana, let them out, and let's see how much room we have.
Any type of stealing, like from a store or something, no bail. Clothes, food, candy.
Yeah, those, you know what? Yeah, those crimes, yeah, no bail.
Arson.
Arson is bad.
Well,
Like,
what if you set fires but you never hurt nobody? You just fucking a fire setter, but you like set fields on fire or old houses.
it's circumstantial, because it's like, why are you doing it? How
They're fucking freaked out and they like to play with fire.
How
been there.
How dangerous are you? Are you putting people's lives at risk? You know, that I think is circumstantial.
Burglary.
Breaking somebody's house, you need to be in jail. You don't invade nobody's personal space like that.
That just like touched the nerve.
Yeah, because that's I don't like no crime, but that's so invasive. And maybe this is like me being older, of course, not that we
Having
new to
shit.
having stuff, like we've been homeowners for a long time, but just the thought of somebody being in your personal space, that too disrupts your life, because now, even if you caught the person, they in jail, whatever, how comfortable do you feel?
Right.
Like, that just, it causes unnecessary trauma.
Drunk driving.
Oh, you throw away the key
Right.
for drunk drivers.
I agree.
Because it's so
I
irresponsible.
agree.
You put your own life at risk and so many other people's lives at risk. And it's something that's just, it's so widely accepted, and it's so, where people are so cavalier about it. And it's just, you know what? Everybody should have to blow into a thing before you drive.
Everybody?
Yup.
No. We're a free country, babe. You can't do that.
We're a free country, but you can't break the law, and drunk driving is against the law. So how is that invading people's
Where does that
rights?
stop at? Where it's like, okay, now I got to check before I do anything to see if I did any crime. Do I got to wipe my hand on stuff to make sure I ain't got cocaine or weed on it?
No, it stops there. You cannot start your car if your blood alcohol level is above what it should be.
Everybody. That's I mean, I'm not drinking, so it's not like, but I think I would care that I have to blow into this thing every
You
day
would
to
get
start
used
my
to
car.
it. Just like we didn't want to wear a mask, and now it's just part of our life. You would
That's
get used
true.
to it.
That's true.
If it saves lives, I think it's necessary.
Driving crimes. Here's a story. Let's just call this girl M.O. M.O. was driving.
Like Mo?
Let's just call her initials, M.O.
Oh, okay.
Single mom, good girl, taking care of her kids, driving on a suspended license, gets pulled over, second time, lock her up, put her in jail, $25,000 bail, so 10% is $2,500. Obviously, she's a single mom with a job, can't afford it. She has 2 kids at home. She spends 4 days in jail away from her kids because she don't have $2,500. So she had to wait the 4 days until she get another hearing so she can get her bail reduced so she can get out. Is that right?
First of all, why are you getting locked up for driving on a suspended license? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that law should not be a law. You shouldn't be driving on a suspended license, but okay, were you harming somebody while driving, or are you just like, it's not like, okay, you were driving recklessly or something. They just pulled you over for whatever reason and realized that your license was suspended. That should not be a lock-upable offense. Like, it just shouldn't be a lock. Should they tell you can't drive, you got to call somebody to come and get you? Should maybe they tow your car? Something to that effect, so that there is some repercussions for you doing it. And then let's find out, why don't you have a license? Like, let's get your license unsuspended. Now, I understand people got to go to work, they got to handle their business, but you need to be legal. But you shouldn't be in jail. You shouldn't be in jail.
I agree.
That just should.
Agree.
I mean,
so anything driving related, as long as it ain't vehicular homicide, you shouldn't be in jail.
No, I'm not gonna say anything driving related, because if you're doing
driving related and
like unregistered car or unlicensed person or something. No, I don't think.
What about going 100 miles an hour?
No, that's reckless. Like, you're putting people's lives in danger. And I think it's circumstantial as well. So if it's the first time, you get a warning, and it should be like trackable.
But can't you kill somebody the first time?
You can, but if you did, I mean, you can kill some people. You can kill somebody doing a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So I'm just saying, I don't think you should automatically go to jail the first time. I think that's a little harsh. But it's circumstantial. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're drunk, that supersedes that. You should go to jail. But if you're just driving fast on 95, you want to get home, like, it's circumstantial. What if you're driving fast because you got a call from your child's school and you need to hurry up and go pick them up because it's an emergency? Or you got a call that your spouse is in the hospital. Like, it's circumstantial.
All right. So letting people out of jail now on bail, it takes a judge to okay it. You got to wait and see if you're, it's 3 things. A judge has to see, is the community safe with you on the street? Will you obstruct the criminal process? And are you a flight risk? So for people like attempted murder charge, are you okay with having that be no cash bail if the release is supervised, ankle monitor? So all these crimes we talked about, the bad ones, the ag assaults and the attempted murders, if there's
don't say ag assault, you sound like a police officer.
Well, aggravated assaults, but the all those kind of high crimes, armed robbery, attempted murder, and all that stuff, are you okay now if they got an ankle monitor? Like, if they got locked up on Friday and was let out on Monday, but you got supervised release and you got to have this monitor on, and we know where you at, and you got to be in the house, and we're gonna call and all that shit.
Circumstantial, because again, under what was the situation in which you tried? If you okay, let me just say, for attempted murder, no, I don't think that they should risk the chance of someone who tried to murder someone being out. I don't think attempted. If you tried to commit a murder, you shouldn't be out.
Wow. Would you feel that way if it happened to you?
If somebody tried to kill me?
No, you tried to kill somebody.
I should probably be in jail. Like, I'm not allowed to kill people.
I know you're not allowed to, but what if it was circumstantial and somebody was trying to kill you and you killed them?
No, that's different. You talking about self-defense. I mean, so.
But what if it didn't play like that? What if it was self-defense, but it didn't play like that, and it just was like, okay, we're locking her up and she's getting a bail, $200,000. You need $20,000 to get her out.
Well, you're gonna come and get me.
I am gonna come and get you, but I'm saying, do you think that's right? Because you just said I can't kill people. I need to be in jail. So do you think, like, if I say, damn, Taj, they gave you a $20,000, $200,000 bill, or say $1 million bill, and you need $100,000, and it's like, damn,
you're coming to get me.
Of course, but I'm just saying.
I don't care. You coming to get me under all circumstances. But I mean, I get and see, this is where I say again, There is no rule where everybody's going to benefit. There may be some people that it's like, you know what? If we set, because you can't have everything can't be have a gray area, and everything can't be black and white. A gray area is required. That's why some things should be looked at on a circumstantial.
So there should
basis.
be some ambiguity.
But exactly, ambiguity. But there are some things that we need to draw a line. And guess what? Some people may be on the other side of that line, and it may be unjust. But sometimes the ends justify the means. Like, you're never going to have a situation or have a system where it should be that everybody gets the fair shake, but sometimes it just ain't going to be like that. What's your opinion about the no cash bail?
I was just about to say my opinion. I agree with no cash bail. I don't know if I agree with I think the attempted murder is circumstantial. I agree with you in that sense. But aggravated assaults, strong arm robberies. Now, doing a felony with a gun, that's a little tricky. So, and I come from experience of this stuff, so I understand both sides of it. But you're taking something from an establishment, you're hurting somebody, so it's kind of sticky. And you're right. If you let robbers out, they're probably just going to rob again.
They're going to keep robbing.
Yeah, and it's not. But would you say that would you say that about killers? If you let killers out, they're just going to keep killing. If you say that about arsonists, thieves.
No. I wouldn't say that about a murderer, because I don't feel. I mean, don't get me wrong. You have some people out here that are.
I'm about to say, what about people out here with 8, 9, 10 bodies?
Exactly, but again, I don't think that's the norm. But again, they still need to be in jail. I don't think killers should have a no cash bail.
Under no circumstances.
No, it is circumstantial.
I was ready to say it's got to be circumstantial, because there's got to be people in this world who have taken a life that they didn't mean to take, or was warranted in some way, shape, or
but you got to
away from the moral aspect.
Yeah, but you got to think about but that is looking at the moral aspect of it, because if murder is a crime I guess there are some situations where you say it was warranted. Like, okay, let's look at the situation where a father finds out, a neighbor was messing with their child, and it's not an attempted murder, it's a murder.
Right.
We feel that's warranted.
Right,
but
and
legally,
there's been cases where those people have been let off in certain cases. Not all of them, but I'm saying there's been anomalies where it's like, okay, this guy blacked out. This was the reason, like he shouldn't be in jail for life. Maybe he does some time, but not the rest of his life.
Yes,
so
we're not talking about the length of time he gets, but more likely than not, no matter how much we feel that it was a justifiable homicide, he's going to go to jail.
I think the dad that comes home and find out the neighbor was messing with his daughter and he attempts to kill him and doesn't, I think he should be able to come home and go to work Monday.
But what if he come home and now he finished the job and kill a neighbor?
Then he's got to deal with that. He's got to accept that. And let's face it, if the guy was a pedophile, he kind of fucking deserves it. So that's how I feel about that. So if he comes home and kills him, obviously morally that's wrong, but the guy was fucking with his daughter and he absolutely deserved it.
I 100% agree that it's deserved, but again, it doesn't mean that it's illegal. Let's just say that, yeah.
But that don't stop people from doing it. 3 grams. No. Let's go back. What have you learned? Not a fucking thing, have you?
No, let me tell you, I'm reading a really good book.
Oh, Jesus.
It's called The 5-Second Rule. And I am learning about just a different way to train your mind to do those things that you may not want to do, but you know that you need to do or should do. And there are certain, it's not just like one of those psychological things. It's actually physiological. The process in which your brain translates a countdown. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Like when you and I'm not saying this works. We learned in therapy that this is kind of like a farce when people say when you're angry to count backwards from 10, because depending on how angry you are, you might have to count backwards from 1,000 to count down.
Mm-hmm.
But the logic behind that is because it's a real physiological change that happens in your brain with a countdown. It kind of ties into when like
a bomb is ticking.
A rocket ship. Well, I wasn't thinking of a bomb, but a rocket ship takes off.
I was trying to think of things with a countdown, or if you have a deadline, or
the New Year's Eve ball drop. It's like that mental thing of once you get the one, like that's what it is. It's like your brain. You kind of trick your brain into a reset just by the thought of, okay, I'm counting down, and when I get to the end, click is like, and it's weird because it's something that's just so simple where you think, this is just some psychological, like trying to psych yourself up to do something. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. But the more you do it and you break old habit loops and create new habit loops, it does something to your brain. So I'm reading more into it. Haven't gotten into all of the physiological stuff, but just that small little piece about that countdown and how it triggers your cerebral, your
cortex,
frontal
lobe,
your frontal lobe. It triggers something there. So
that's what you learned.
Yeah,
that's cool shit. I didn't know that. And that's good information. I kind of it makes sense though.
Yeah,
like
once you hear it, it makes sense.
I learned that, and it's not something that I didn't know, and I'm not bragging because it was told to me, but I'm a good leader, and I've been leading men at work for a long time, and I take with a grain of salt the compliments, the insults, or whatever the fuck that may come, but from certain people, I take certain compliments to heart. And when somebody tells me I'm a good leader and I'm doing the right thing, it makes me feel good, like that I'm pouring into my guys and I'm trying to do things the right way. I'm not a person who doesn't get in with the guys. Like I'm a field supervisor, so I'm in the mix with the guys, and I feel like I love that, and I love the way I touch my guys at work. And one thing that came to me is that what a person who he told me was a great boss. The greatest bosses are tyrants. The greatest leaders are servants. And that's what you should be. And that's what I learned.
That's awesome. I'm proud of you.
3 grams. 1, 2, 3. Philly SWAT officer shot while serving homicide warrant. Suspect killed. This was in the 800 block of 10th Street today.
I read this is first of all, let's just say the deceased, the suspect who was killed, 19 years old.
Mm-hmm. That don't mean nothing though.
So,
a 12-year-old got the 30-round clip and they gang.
19 years old. He was wanted for a murder. And the crazy thing is, this is when you know that these babies out here have this nothing to lose mentality. Because not only did he pop off and shoot 3 officers.
Mm-hmm. 2 SWAT.
When he shot them, tried to escape through the back door, was met by 6 more officers and started shooting at them, and he unfortunately was shot in the head and killed. Mm-hmm. But just to think, like, in his mind, it literally was, it made me think, and I'm not saying this to like laugh or joke about it at all, it made me think about Cleo in that last scene to set it off. Like, I'm just, like, he had to know, or maybe he thought for some reason that bullets would miss, but he had to know that he was going to get killed, and he just felt like, I'm going out trying to take one of them with me.
There's not a nigga in the street in Philadelphia that don't know if you shoot at a cop, you're going to die.
Right, but I'm just saying, maybe he just thought he was going to get lucky.
If you active in the street, you know that's not possible. Mm-hmm. Tell me a story. How many guys you know shot out with the fucking cops and lived to tell about it? Yeah, so Tell me a story. I mean, you got stories about a whole bunch of other drug dealers and gangsters that did this and did that. Ain't nobody shouted out with the cops and lived to tell about it. So that's not something that common like that happens.
Yeah, unfortunate. So unfortunate. I mean, don't get me. It's it's great that none of the cops were killed, but it just is so sad to think at 19 years old, that's how like you risked it all and you lost.
But that's probably what's going to happen when you shoot it out. And I'm sure he knew that 19 years old, he was wanted for a homicide, right? So yeah, he had the taste of blood in his mouth and probably knew I ain't going to jail, or knew if I do go to jail, I ain't coming home. And then you just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like you weigh the options: going to jail, staying home; going to jail, staying
home.
And
it's so crazy because you hear about so many people. The recidivism rate for prison is so high, and I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but obviously there's so many people that go back and forth to jail and don't care. And then here you have this person that's like, nah, I ain't going. I'll die.
Kids at such a young age get the fuck it attitude, and when they say fuck it about everything, it's just that's what it is. You gonna go to jail? Fuck it. You're going to be there for life. Fuck it. You know, you're going to get 900 years. Fuck it. You're going to hurt that family. Fuck it. Like, they just fuck everything.
Yeah.
This is the last time I want to talk about this shit. It's Kanye West.
Oh, God.
With the anti-Semitic remarks and his show being pulled off the shop, which I just watched today. He had an episode to himself. They're not going to air it because they thought he used the platform for some bullshit. But one thing I do want to say about Kanye, right? He lost his mom. I have sympathy and empathy for him for that. And I know that fucking made him crazy. That don't excuse the shit he says or the White Lives Matter shit he says, none of that stuff. But he is one person that we do know, and everybody's on this healing journey, and we try to be transparent, right, with our stuff. But he's one person that has been, and we know that he has a diagnosis. And I don't know how many of us are transparent and real with our diagnosis, but we know he's bipolar. So I just want to put that out there. Like, let's just have some empathy for that, because we know that he can have manic episodes. He can have, I don't know what's the reverse.
Depressive.
You can have depressive episodes and manic episodes. So I don't know if that's tied into that. And I don't know out there or who I talk to has a diagnosis, but I do know from his words that he has a diagnosis of being bipolar. So that's just it. That's all I want to say about that.
So I was looking and I can't find it right now. So that I won't continue looking. And I agree. I'm not condoning.
No, I don't condone anything he does or says, but I also just want to put on the table that he is the one person that everybody's attacking and everybody says this about him, but he's the one person that we all know has a diagnosis of being bipolar. This
is my question though. What did he say that was anti-Semitic? Now listen, what I saw was that he said he was tired and he was going to bed, but when he woke up in the morning, he had something to say about Jewish people. He didn't even say it. He let it be known he was going to.
He said some shit about Jewish people in those text messages he was posting the last 4 days. He was saying some shit of Jews.
Oh, okay.
This and that. So
okay, all right.
There was some stuff in
so
that.
Maybe I probably missed it. They
for
probably
like the
took
last
it down.
week, he was posting anybody who talked to him.
Yeah, that I saw. Like him and Diddy was going back and forth.
He called him a Fed and all that shit. Like,
and he was like, those Jewish people told you to call me. But okay, so I take that back, because I saw him say he was going to wake up that next morning and do, but I didn't see what he actually said that was considered anti-Semitic. So, and we know you say something about Jewish people or you say something derogatory about the LGBTQIA plus community, they will shut you down. You can say nigga all day long. They can call us monkeys. H&M could put little kids with monkey t-shirts and bananas. Gucci can make monkey face masks and sweaters. They can, paint blackface on. College campuses can, act the fool. They had the boys in the high school who had a fake slave trade. Yep. You can do a whole lot when it comes to black people, when it comes to Asian people, Latino people, But you can't say any, and I'm not saying you should be able to, but you shouldn't be able to say anything derogatory, or you should face the same repercussions of saying anything derogatory about any group of people. So that's my spiel.
British neonatal nurse Lucy Letby killed 7 babies.
Oh my God.
Attempted to kill 10 newborns, 2 by insulin.
Like what?
Not to laugh. I'm laughing at her response, not at the situation.
Because I need more. I didn't know about this. So what the hell?
She's in England. She's a British neonatal nurse.
So she killed them.
Lucy Letby killed 7 newborn babies. She attempted to kill 10 newborn babies.
So this is like in one time over her career.
Over her career, she killed 10 she tried to kill 10. This is what she has admitted to now that she's locked up.
How did they find out?
Babies died.
I mean, obviously, but it's not like so. Over how many years did this happen?
That wasn't in the story, but I'm sure it was a short span where they would
probably
look
realize,
at her.
It's your nurse, and even if it was only over 20 years, I think for one nurse to have 7 babies die on their watch, this one nurse is connected to all is probably.
I think 4 would be the number for me.
No, I'm just saying.
You've been there 20 years and 4 babies died. I'm looking at you.
No, I'm looking at the actual case. That's probably that stands out. So I don't know. Unfortunately, I know in maternal medicine and fetal medicine that is something that can happen, but I don't think one nurse is probably
and don't
connected
they have
to
something like infant diabetes, like when the mom can't the mom get diabetes? Yeah, stuff like that, and they give the baby insulin.
I don't know.
But she killed 2 babies by insulin. Now you wouldn't just be able to give a baby insulin, right? You'd have to be a reason.
Yeah, I don't think you can give it. I don't think you can get. I mean, now I don't know if it would kill us, but I don't think you can give anybody insulin that doesn't need it without there being some side effects. So I could imagine a newborn, their small system, it definitely is obviously lethal. That's horrible. But, I mean, not that it matters, but did she say what her reason was?
No, but it's just like weird how shit like this comes on the cusp of like us watching serial killer shit. And it's like
she's definitely a serial killer.
Yeah. Like,
a newborn serial killer.
And it just lets you know that like
that's
one thing about the Dahmer, and I don't want to get too deep in, but one thing about the Dahmer thing was like us knowing the complexity of the story, and like he was no different than like us. He wasn't like this hunting murderous and like this guy who thought like it's insatiable for me to murder. It was just like, I want you to be my friend. You leaving, now I gotta kill you. And it's like, damn, like if humans can think like that, like what is it that you gotta tap into? Not that I want to, but what is it that you gotta tap into to be okay in that reserve with killing? And then on top of that, eating and destroying bones and bodies and shit like that. It's just fascinating to me that like when they said let's look at his brain, and they said they just did John Wayne Gacy like that and his brain was normal. Like that shit piqued my ears to be like, it's normal? Well, like my brain would be normal. His brain is normal? A guy who had 33 kids under his house?
But you got to think to yourself, that goes to show maybe there aren't any physiological signs of mental health issues, because obviously that is a mental health issue.
Well, it makes you want to know, like, is it becoming a serial killer? Is it nature or nurture? Is it the way your parents don't fuck with you, never tell you they love you, never hug you, like the shit that he went through? Or is it just you came out like that?
Nah, I definitely think it's nurture.
Because some people come out like psychopaths, where they don't have emotion about shit that normal people have emotion about. You don't develop that. You're born that way.
I don't think so. I don't think there's one single newborn that is born as a psychopath.
I think it's been studied. I'm not saying I have, but I think it's been studied and proven in serial killers that some of them are born psychopath. Some kids that don't become a serial killer at 8 and 9 years old, they know are psychopaths.
It may be a chemical imbalance. So I do believe, yes, some babies are born with chemical imbalances, and they definitely have mental health issues. But so when you say psychopath, I mean meaning they have no emotion. They have psychopathic issues where there's some sort of imbalance where their serotonin or what's the other one? Dopamine. Like there's some chemical imbalance in their system where they don't show emotions the same way that others do. But I don't think that baby is predestined. Like, oh, you were born
I'm not saying they're
killer.
predestined to be a serial killer, but they are psychopaths.
But let's not call them psychopaths. Let's say they have
That's the clinical term.
That they have psychopathic issues.
Okay, I mean,
it's just
no, because your mind is going to the negative connotation of it, and it's like, oh, you think all psychopaths are going to chop people up?
Well, no. So do you think psychopaths can be healed? Like,
no, I think there's people walking amongst us that are psychopaths who don't feel that's like the boy who kills animals or hurts his sister and doesn't realize he's hurting her, or just doesn't feel the emotion when she's crying that you kicked me in the face. Like, those kind of kids don't show that emotion. I'm not saying they're going to grow up and be Ted Bundy or Dahmer, but at 8 years old, like, it's been studied that they are psychopaths. Okay. Now, I'm not saying they're going to turn into anything, but with what you're showing now at 8 years of life, you're kind of a psychopath, dude. And I don't think you developed that in 8 years. I think that's, like you said, a chemical imbalance, a genetic imbalance, like, but you came out fucked up like that.
You can, or it could be nurture.
Could be.
Yeah.
Let's do a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 92, coming to a close.
92.
International walk.
Your girl Tosh.
Act2thepodcast.com is where you can catch us. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Anchor, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Spotify, and TikTok. Act 2 the podcast, episode 92. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.
We kissing now.
With the driest of lips.